Bells Bend neighborhood farm that grows hops. Humulus lupulus has been grown for centuries for its medicinal qualities and for making beer. Here to help us learn more about hops is Linus Hall, a local brewer.
Hey, thanks, Jeff. Yeah, this batch of hops that we're growing out here is destined for a beer that we make once a year called Bells Bend Preservation Ale. We take the hops, we make up a big batch of hopefully about 500 cases of beer this year.
500 cases?
Yeah, and then we donate part of the proceeds back to the CSA for the farm.
Oh, that's great.
This particular patch, this is the third year that they've been growing it. We started with a row along the fence line there and then transplanted that into this bigger field here. Put up these trellises, which are about 18 feet tall.
Oh my gosh.
And we're going to have about 150 vines to harvest in about 2 weeks here.
So you say you started with a smaller patch and then you propagated the plants. How do we propagate?
Well, hops grow from a rootstock. It's called a rhizome.
So that's not grown from seed?
No, you would cut the rootstock up into different segments and transplant that in order to grow more and more of the same varietals.
Oh.
We'll get a couple shooting off here and here.
You see the little bud right there? That is an advantageous bud that will make a new hops plant. All you need is just a small piece of the root, like that right there. As long as it has one of these little buds on it, that'll make a new plant. Linus, run us through the cultural technique starting this spring for growing a hops crop.
Well, yeah, once you've planted your rhizomes in the early spring, not much will happen for a little while. You'll go ahead and get the soil prepared. What we did here is we put cardboard over all the rows, cut a hole out where we knew the rhizomes were going to pop up, and then just put a shovel full of manure over that. But in early March, April, you'll start seeing little shoots start popping up. And what you'll do is you'll run a jute twine down to the ground, anchor it there, and try to get 3 or 4 of the strongest shoots popping up to twine around that. And you can actually cut the ones that are the weaker ones, and a lot of people will saute them in butter. It tastes a lot like asparagus.
You can eat them?
Yeah, you can eat them too.
I'll be darned. I didn't know that.
And then, throughout the season, they'll grow pretty aggressively. Sometimes in the early summer, probably as much as a foot a day.
A foot a day?
A foot a day, yeah.
Wow.
Me growing up in Mississippi, they remind me of kudzu a lot. The leaves are similar, and they're very aggressive vines.
Yeah.
And then what you'll do is you want to cut back the first 3 feet or so of vegetation off the ground. That'll keep the mildew from coming up off the ground and into the plant.
So you have more airflow.
Right. And then, in July, August, you'll start to see the little immature hop cones start popping out.
And this is one that's not ripe.
So this is one that's not ready to be picked at all. You can see when we break it open, there's really nothing in the interior of it. Mm-hmm. A ripe cone, like some of these we see here, these are almost ready to be picked. And you'll see that nice bright yellow lupulin resin there. Once you pick these and throw them into a batch of beer and boil it, you're going to start getting all those resins will be boiled into the beer, and you'll get that nice kind of citrusy bitterness into the beer. So,
okay.
Yeah, these are awesome. So,
yeah. So if somebody was just a home brewer, it would be a good idea for them to have a hops plant or two in their backyard.
Yeah, it's so easy to do. I mean, you take the rootstock, grow it, twine it up over something so that it'll get up in the air, and then in about August you're ready to be picked. Yeah. What we'll be doing with these is probably about 2 weeks. We'll have a whole crew of volunteers come out and help us cut down the vines, pick all the hops off. Then we're going to rush them back to the brewery, put them in a batch of beer, and it should be ready in about maybe late September. We're kind of end user of these hops, but it's really fun for me to come out here and kind of, like you said, dig your hands in the dirt and be reminded of what you drink came from the soil.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to rush these back to the brewery and use them right away, but if you don't want to use them right away, you need to dry them out. And so, yeah, traditionally they put these in what's called a hop house or an oast house in England, and run hot air through them to dry them out, and then they'll be preserved for the rest of the year because you only pick them once a year. So.
Right, they all come ripe at once.
Right.
Yeah. And then when these are harvested and you take the vines down, then you just lay the bed to rest.
Yeah, the root will go dormant and pop back up again in the spring.
Yeah. So it's pretty easy to grow.
Yeah, you know, and if you're a typical home brewer, you know, 1 or 2 vines of these size would be enough for, you know, a 10-gallon batch of beer.
Oh, great. So hops is an ancient crop, been used for many years to help people as an herbal remedy, and it's great for making beer.
It sure is.